Hello, this is Jerome Scott Smith, and welcome to another episode of Theater Talk. Today we're going to explore the question, why theater? Why the theater? This is a question I've been asked ever since I started a life in the theater. When I started my theater company in 2001, the African American Repertory Theater, it was a question that I began to even ask myself, why am I doing this? It doesn't pay much money and the hours are long. What are the rewards? This is a question I pose to my friends as we explore the question, why theater? Now I want to introduce the cohorts, the Jedi Council, if you will, as we begin this talk.
I am Shantell Dunnaville. I am an actor here in Richmond, Virginia. I also teach and many other things as well. And I am glad to be here.
Fleming, actor in Richmond, Virginia since 1993 under the tutelage of Ernie McClintock.
Tony Cobb, actor. I've done some directing, stage managing, set building, box office, a little bit of all of it. Theater, I would say probably 90%. Have done a little film and TV, not a whole lot to speak of, but very judicious film and TV. I'm very proud of one particular film I had the pleasure to be in with my man J. Ron Fleming, called Troop 491, The Adventures of the Muddy Line. I thought it was a fantastic film, should be seen by more people around the world. And glad to be part of this Jedi Council. Who's Yoda?
No, that was Ernie.
Ernie's Yoda.
From
the
yeah.
All right. I'm D.L. Hopkins. I actor, writer, director, under the tutelage and counsel of the great Black artist, Ernie McClintock, first and foremost, who made all of this possible. I wouldn't be messing around in front of cameras and stuff if it wasn't for him. And I am so happy to be among these good people.
No.
All right, thank you. So these are my friends here, guys, and I am Jerome Scott Smith. I am right now a theater educator, and I spent a lot of time with everybody here as actors, directors, theatricians, thinkers, everything. And so thank y'all so much for being on board. All right, so today we are here to ponder our question, which is, why theater? So I have a couple of questions for you guys. But before we start that, why acting? You know, for me, when I think about this, as my background is I was in the suburbs for a lot of time, many years. I was the only Black person there, you know. But I had this yearning to do theater. But that does come from my mom, who put me into the theater to see plays when I was in New Jersey, you know. But so that love never left me. But I was in this weird situation where I'm the only one, and no one that I know likes what I like, you know, and I don't see anybody like me on stage. So why am I going to do this, right? So I want to hear from you guys, why acting? And then I have some questions about that. Anybody want to go first?
You know you got to go with Shantell.
You got You guys just keep throwing me out there.
Because you know you want to go first.
I know. I love to perform. I love to sing and to dance. And when I got on stage and I could find out I could do both at the same time, theater was definitely the place to be. As soon as I stepped on the stage, I was like, whoa, this is a big place where I can absolutely disappear. This is my world. And a place where I was able to take people into my place. And as soon as I was able to be able to have a place where I can control that world, it's a place of control for me. I can control that world. And the moment where I can have that place of control of whatever that instrument is, or whatever that play is, or whatever that thing is, then now I can teach, or I can deliver whatever it is, and I can convince you of whatever I want. And because I can do that, I can fit into any role I want. And I felt as though it didn't matter if I was in an all-white school. I fit, and I belonged, and it was my world. And that's just how I felt. That stage, that was mine. And nobody else could claim that space but me. And everybody else that came in that space, they belonged with me too. It felt like a family. Everybody that stepped on the stage, it felt like a family. And that's what you learn when you're in theater. You feel family. It doesn't matter what color you are. It didn't matter what you look like, what your ability was. You learn how to adapt as a family. Theater is a place where you learn culture, where you learn a world of adapting to others. Theater has taught me how to adapt to languages. It's had how to adapt to so many things. I have become a better human because of theater. A human. I can step into somebody else's shoes and say, I understand you. Let me shut my mouth because I do understand you.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, that level of empathy.
All right. Yeah. I like that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm going to echo a lot of things that Sister Shantell said. But I'm going to be honest with you. My initial reasons for, even pursuing acting and theater were very selfish. Very selfish. I like attention. And
what?
And I discovered somehow I figured out early on that the most beautiful women.
Yep. Hey, you ain't never lie.
And you get to work with them every day. Sign me up. But what really started it was, if I think about it, when I was a kid, my father was a boxer. He was a 7-time state champion here in Virginia. We met and knew a lot of people. There was a place called the Arena, which was near
the Diamond.
Yeah, but the Arena was a spot back in the day. Yeah. Anybody, I know Toney know. We used to have everything there. But on Friday nights, my dad would fight. And in certain parts of Churchill, I'm still known as Little Hawk because my dad is Chicken Hawk Hopkins.
All right.
And my dad had a penchant for just stretching fools out on the regular. So and he was not big. He's like me. We're not big. It was really good. So when he knew that he was fighting somebody that was like a pushover, I was invited, and I was like maybe 3 or 4. And he would knock the person out. And the referee would announce the winner, but my dad would call me up to the ring. And my earliest memories is the referee saying, yo, chicken Hulk Hopkins, but he'd hold up my hand and my dad would give me his belt and I'd walk around the ring with it. They go nuts, and that stuck with me. I've been chasing that dragon ever since.
Wow.
Later, when I met Ernie, and he gave me a formula to become anybody at any time. It's like a superpower. No matter if I'm performing on a street corner or in a palace, I could be anybody at any time. If I follow the rules, I will kill it every time. All I got to do is follow these simple rules. And I got to be with a company of incredible actors who shared this love. And we worked on pieces like it was scripture or church, dedicated our time to it. And in doing that, I've seen like magnificent things come from nothing, absolutely nothing, simply because we're all in agreement to create this world. And for me, that elation, that joy, the opportunity of sharing that, hitting the lottery early when I was beginning acting was a big thing. But having the opportunity, as I call it, to fill in the spaces of history. Like history is dates, times, and events. And we get to hear all of these things that happen, this war or this economic crash or, I don't know, COVID, a disease, something happening. But there are actual people living and breathing during those times. There's life going on. And we neglect in telling that life. But I found through art, movies, film, television, especially theater, on the right night, magical. You actually channel for an audience a point in time and how people negotiated the different challenges that they had and the conflicts that are exactly the same that we have. There just happened to be a war going on, or maybe they were fighting a disease, or there was an economic collapse. It's the same thing. Some guy loves some woman. They try to build a life. They can't do this. You're black, you're white, you know. But expressing that and being honored with the chance to take on some of that translation and transcendence, that's what I like about acting, is I get to be a tool to transcend an audience into a specific time. That's it.
Wonderful. Awesome. I love that.
My reasons to come to going into acting were very much like DL, very superficial. I mean, very specifically, I was doing a friend's taxes. She was part of our community theater group. She said, Tony, you know, decent looking guy, got a nice voice. We need men. And that's all I needed to hear. We need men. So I came there and, you know, got bitten. But I was always a frustrated artist. I really wanted to be the next Miles, the next Jimi Hendrix or whatever. Didn't quite get there. I thought I could be Jimi Hendrix. Mom bought me a guitar. I thought I could play like him in a month, you know. And so I did guitar, did trumpet, didn't master either one of them. Did pretty well. And basically lost interest because at the time I picked up those instruments, then I went to puberty. And then other things started taking place. But I've always been a frustrated artist. But what has kept me into acting, into theater more specifically, I'm going to piggyback on what DL said, was contrary to what the common thought may be, theater is very organized. It's very structured. You know, you see this end result, people on stage having fun, they're running around, dancing, singing, and everything. But to get to that point takes a lot of structure, a lot of organization. So I had this big nerdy side in me, as you guys can attest to. So that part of it appealed to me. Oh, wow, this is not just some people up here acting, acting up.
No.
This has some meaning, purpose, structure to it.
Yes.
So that kind of grabbed a hold of me. And then I just couldn't let it go. And, as I say, I just couldn't let it go and just become some part. I'm a firm believer that everything happens for a reason, karma, God, whoever you want to attribute it to. And I'm here because I'm supposed to be here. And I was being prepared. I was being prepared all my life. Didn't really realize it. I was in middle school, I was a school president. So I opened up all the assemblies. So I got in front of audiences, introduced people, did poems, and teachers and students would come up to me afterwards and say, oh, Toney, that was so good. That was so good. But I was doing what came naturally to me.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at. So I'm going to pass this Jedi baton to my man, J. Ron Fleming.
I mean, everybody that has said something, most of the value of what we do, I have realized in retrospect. I feel that the arts are absolutely essential. Just like when you hear about these educational systems that get rid of PE. Well, anybody that's had a child knows that if you don't give that child some opportunity to run around for a while, you're gonna have some problems. And for me, the arts and acting being part of that spectrum it's about expression. All things are energy. And as a human being, particularly little boys, from my experience, little girls as well, but children in general, they got all this energy, they don't know what to do with it. So the art gives them an avenue for self-examination, of expression. And then out of that, you learn about your culture, and it helps you to become a more valuable human being in society by having this tool to express yourself with. Because we grow up, that's why you have these reclusive people, that do these heinous things, because they live in this bubble of a world, because everybody has a different, from what I know about each one of us, we've all had at least one parent that gave us love, that gave us a meal on a regular basis, that look out for our well-being. And everybody doesn't have that. There are lots of people in this life that don't have that. And so the arts, you bring them into a forum where they can suddenly speak and move and be something. Perhaps, I think Shantell said, be someone else. And that gives them a perspective. Okay, well, they deal with some of the same struggles I did, or maybe more significant difficulties in life. So, it's a structured environment that helps us be human beings, and it's a wonderful thing. We, of course, all of us gravitated to it in the beginning, because all of us, as we grow up, and particularly as Toney mentioned, puberty, you go through that period, you're attracted to somebody, and so, you get to stand out in front of them and get their attention. I mean, that's only natural, I think. And I think that's, as a matter of fact, too many young people engage in sexual activity before they're ready, where the arts can kind of allow you to examine, because all those energies are going to be there, whether you or not. It's a forum, a playing field that you can come out and express those thoughts, those notions, those energies in a safe place. And when you do get to the point to engage in those activities, you're more prepared to deal with them. So the arts are absolutely essential, I feel, and acting is just part of it. When we first started, one of the things we had to do, and bear in mind, I was over 30 before I even took a class. I was a person who didn't have a lot of confidence in myself. And part of our development, we had to take dance. And so McClintock puts me in a dance class, and I had all of the silly notions that males of my era grew up with. Man, I don't do that. Girls, all of that. And our first recital was in Dogwood Dale outside with a toga on.
I remember that.
It broke down all of the inhibitions, the false notions.
Yes.
And so it really helped me to grow as a human being. And then coming to what I really learned most about it, as I didn't really know who I was as a Black man until I became an actor. I went to mostly Black high school. I went to a Black university. And I didn't understand the depth and power of the Black experience until I became an actor. When I started doing Richard Wesley and August Wilson and on, we've talked about, that piece that we did, The Mighty Gents.
Yes.
it was in a rehearsal, and you may have said this before. I'm sure that Jerome and DL, we were all in that production. There was a moment where Wally, who played Zeke, and Zeke is the stereotypical drunk in the Black community. But there was a moment where Zeke used to always say these profound things. And I realized in that moment that I had an uncle who was a profound drunk. And I remember on those rare occasions that he would get sober, he was a brilliant man.
Yeah.
And so we all have this excellence in us. Every human being that's ever been created. God don't make no junk. And so the arts help us realize that excellence in ourselves. And so I feel blessed that I fell into the situation I did, because I think I would have gone most of my life not believing in myself had I not found the arts.
Yeah, I got
right.
Jay Ron said, man, to be in a spot with like-minded individuals without judgment.
Yeah.
Good.
Yes.
There's no other place in the world that I know of. Like, I can't even get that at home.
Yeah.
Why you look back when you said that, man?
He's checking looked in, nobody was there.
That cut deep, don't it? But like, to be with a group of people for one thing, we're dedicated to do one thing. Y'all see Miles sneaking out. He trying to.
Oh, there's the little actor. That little Reeves.
But yeah, a little bad. But in a place where we all create something together without judgment.
Yeah.
And as a Black man, like my dad, and I'm sure a lot of brothers will attest to this, was like a man's man. It's like, not only are you a man, but you're a Black man. So you got to carry yourself in a certain way. You can't be no punk.
Right.
You can't let nobody chump you. You got to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's all these rules of engagement. And so everything is offensive. You come in with a certain type of energy when you meet in certain things. But I didn't have to do that in theater. The opposite was true.
And that, a lot of us that came up in these eras of the 60s, 70s, 80s, and on, have that sort of false bravado. And the thing I always think about, do you remember the early spaceships? With the spaceships, as they used to take off, it would take off and then a little piece would fall off.
Yeah.
A little further, another little piece would fall off.
Right.
A little further, another piece would fall off. And to me, that's analogous. There are a lot of things that we probably had to have in the Black community at different times past because it served us. But now they're no longer necessary. And so we have to,
I like that.
We have to, a perfect example is like the concept of an Uncle Tom. Well, during that period of time in minstrelsy, a Black man had to do whatever he could just to get down the street without being assassinated.
Yes.
So
legally.
Yeah, exactly right.
So there are all kinds of, that poem that we learned at the very beginning is right on it. We wear the mask. That it lies. It hides our cheeks. It shades our eyes. I mean, that says it all right there. And
Don't
that's
really time. This debt we owe to humankind.
Wow. It's got the whole message. And it gives me chills just thinking about us reciting that thing and learning it. And I'm like,
yes,
people talking about it here, but I don't know what it is, but I like it.
Yeah. Well, this, this goes back to, the source of why we all got into this, right? And there's a need that we all had to get met.
Right. There you go ahead. Scratch that itch.
I know the reason I even pose this question is because I look at our community. I look at a city like Richmond, and I'm asking this for these kids, and I say, is there a theater there? Will they be attached to that? Is a space for them to get what we all got, so that theater is this communal thing for the whole community, And as I talked in Richmond, and I didn't see a whole lot of that. It's like when I had my kids and we were performing, it was like this novelty. Oh my gosh, these Black kids and they're good. What?
Yeah.
And it kind of broke my heart. And it still does in the city. It does, because I don't see a whole lot of that the development for our city, for our youth in particular, you know.
Yeah, no doubt.
And so it's something that I think it's important, something that we need to foster. And it's not here. I mean, I remember in college, they were trying to do a Raising the Sun and could not figure out why no one auditioned. Now, this is James Madison University, and I'm the only Black theater person there, and they want to know why no one came to the audition, because they haven't fostered that in the whole Black community at that school, you know? Right. And so I look at that as the same thing for our community. We know what theaters are there now and what they're doing now, but who are they serving to that community that we have? And there's so many, you know, the population is there, but there's no real service to that. You know what I mean?
That's like a very interesting way to put that. It's like throwing a party. All of you have thrown parties before, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good and bad. But what I mean by that is people come where they are welcome. And if we haven't been in a certain space before, the difference with Black people and with like white kids is like they would be uncomfortable in a space, a new space. Yeah. We can be killed in a new space. That's the difference, right? So it's not a matter of kids not feeling comfortable or all of that stuff. It's communicating, like Jerome said, to a certain community that you want to service and show that there is an option for you in a place where there's nothing but stop signs. And I know for me, there's been nothing but stop signs when I was a kid. Like, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this. I have more can'ts than I can. So that's why those kids aren't showing up in that respect. And the parents are very, very, you know, there are some parents who don't care, but most parents are very, very protective of their babies. Mm-hmm. They don't want to put them in no mess.
Yeah.
And I think until we address the elephant in the room, as it were, this whole racial construct. We got places that we go that we see as safe spaces and certain places that we don't. It's like we don't even, it's like you don't get certain mail at your house, right? They're not sending catalogs for the Mercedes dealership and the Lamborghinis to my zip code.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
now, it doesn't matter. Maybe I can afford it, maybe, but it's not coming here. So I don't see it as an option. So we got to find a way that I think we rebuild those networks that we had before. Maybe it's the Black church. Maybe it's the rec center. Maybe it's after school programming. But to let them know that these options still exist and it's not something so mysterious and weird. You might have as many kids as you would in a white neighborhood, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I'm sure there's like a million Denzels and Viola Davises and all them cats just sitting in their mama's room in front of the mirror, holding a brush, doing speeches and monologues, but we don't see that because we don't cultivate that in our community. We're policing the community, but we're not cultivating the community, right? We need to water some of the flowers. So if you play the right music, invite the right people, put out the right food, oh man, your party's gonna be hitting. But if you just open your door and turn on the music and expect people to show up, nah.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is. We go to places we're welcome and we feel comfortable.
That's good. That's good.
DL, you say such profound things, and that's absolutely wonderful, and I think that is absolutely wonderful. Perhaps if Richmond Public Schools.
I know where you're going.
But perhaps as a teacher, perhaps if
Take your time, Minister.
They could possibly support the teachers there.
Hey.
Perhaps in the theater department, perhaps if they could actually do things like that, you know, provide books and things. I'm sorry. Perhaps if they could probably provide costumes or wait a minute. Perhaps if they could provide anything at all.
Well,
yeah.
Lovely. Perhaps maybe there would be food and music.
Hey.
Lovely things to be inviting the children there. Maybe even some brochures and things to say, hey, come on down here. It's nice here on this lovely city. Maybe there will even be lights that will be working inside of your theater. Hey, maybe there will not be roaches in those seats.
Woo!
All right, Slight, all right.
Wow, that's like experience, don't it?
I know, right?
Yeah, I know.
That's not
Okay, guys.
I'm not speaking from experience. No, I'm not. I'm not.
Okay, guys. Let me get our last question for the day for this topic. Now we understand, you know, how you all got into this, and you know, we really had a good conversation about that. My question is, what factors in your life drew you to a life in the theater? So you got the exposure. Now, what kept you in? You know, kept it going. You know.
I'll start this time.
All right.
For me, primarily it's theater, but I have seen, like I mentioned before, like at church, I have seen a group of strangers come together at a specific time, and we all agree to do that. And for 3 months, we make something out of nothing. I mean, absolutely nothing. And for me, there's been nowhere else in my life where I've seen that, where it's almost it's a religious experience.
Yeah, yeah.
You show up and you guys sit around a table and you read words you've never heard before, but you dedicate yourself to it so that the other person can dedicate themselves to it. I'm like, Jay Ron plays tennis, and I'm a tennis actor. So I don't act, I react. So a lot of what I do is I put a lot of pepper and sauce on what I serve across the net to my fellow actor. And that encourages them to take it up off the page and get, you know, and then before you know it, we got a nice little service going, volley and flap out, flap out, flap out. Depending on what's going on, I might ease it across the net a little bit, and then you whack, you know, and that exchange raises up off of paper. And then a week later, we got props showing up, and there's a hat where it wasn't, and a jacket, and now I got a whole costume. Now there's a light on a space that didn't exist. Yeah. And the one thing that I love about theater, for me, I don't get it in film, although I love film and I love television in a different way, but especially in theater, is every person in that cast, not just the cast, not just the actors, the directors, the set designer, everybody has put forth their effort and energy for one thing. And there is no one else, no one in the world, no one in this galaxy that is more prepared for what is about to happen that night. And no one else is more surprised by it than the people who do it, right? It's always more and something different each time. If you really, really, really get in it and you start, like Ernie said, feel that jazz, oh man, I gotta tell you, it's transcendent. It's ethereal. It's like close to sex. Sex is good. But it's like, whoa, I'm just on this wave, and if I follow these rules, oh shit.
Easy now, easy.
You know, I mean, like the conflict and the progression of the plot points and the different ways in which I, depending on the character I am, engage my objectives with my fellow actors. Like some days I played, like he mentioned in The Mighty Gents, I was just a hard-headed thug. And Mary Hodges, who's I think is incredible, and I have no idea why she isn't famous and a multi-billionaire.
Yes, indeed.
But you know, that's America's fault, not their loss, not mine.
Exactly.
I worked with the sister. I know I ain't have no business on the stage with her, but there we go. That's neither here nor there. But I could play with Mary. There's scenes where I could I was leaving and going to do something I have no business, and she was telling me, don't leave and you need to be doing this. And some nights I had the latitude, based on what we've done, to come to her like soft, baby, you know what I mean, like this. And she would take the same lines and give it back to me and make sense. And then I have to make that make sense. So it was actors playing within the play. And if you work hard enough, you get to play a really cool game of tennis with some badass world-class tennis players. I'm talking about McEnroe, just crap, across the net. Yeah! And you just stand there and you're like, okay, we'll take that back. And that's the candy between the actors. Toney and I did it during Oedipus.
Oedipus and Tiresias, yeah.
Several of that, not just that, but like all of it, the shepherd, all of it.
Yeah.
Every night at a certain time, if the light's right, like Luther Vandross said, the time is right. But if it's just right, you can play within the play. And that the audience is getting something great. But the expression and causing the actor that you're acting with to go, oh, okay, well, this is what I think of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, that's super fun. It's great. That's what keeps me coming back, is to make something out of nothing, and to see what it's gonna be.
Yeah, that's good, DL. Yeah, I like that analogy about the tennis. I mean, that's it. That's back and forth.
I'll help you with your footwork.
I know that I was I went to I just can't stay away from the theater. I don't know. But I went to school. I went to school to go into education. And my parents were like, yeah, that's right. Go for education. I stayed in school for education for a good year. And the theater teacher got me on stage, and I was on they brought me into Dreamgirls, and then they brought me into Once on This Island. Boy, are you kidding me?
I love that show.
Are you kidding me?
Wait, I didn't hear anything about I Am a Man.
What are you doing?
Huh? I Am a Man?
No, this is when I was at Bowie State.
I'm just thinking with you.
This is when I was at Bowie State. They were like, what are you doing? Why are you not majoring in theater? You know, you should be doing this for a living. And I was like, yeah, you're right. But the school that I was at, they didn't have a major for theater. So that's when I had to come back to Virginia. And that's when I went back to VCU. And and I said, all right, let's just do this. Let me drop education and then let's just do this thing. I never really dropped theater after that. Theater was always a part of my life. You know, no matter if I picked up another career or whatever, you know, theater was always under my belt, you know, always dragging it around to, you know, whatever I did. And every career, everything that I ever did, it always was entangled. Even when I taught Spanish or whatever, I used it teaching conversations with the kids, showing them how to be able to interact. I set up a classroom like it was a restaurant. And I said, you guys are going to speak in Spanish. We're going to set it up just like a scene. Let's go. You know, and the kids were like, what's going on? What's going on? Because theater is ingrained in me. And this is how I teach. This is how everything is being brought to life. So this is, you know, so, you know, I never left theater. It never, you know, let go of me. So it is what it is.
Yeah. All right. That's good. Yeah. I'm kind of like you. You know, I don't know. I can't. I don't know what I would do if I didn't have theater. You know, it's such a part of everything I do. Even now, I'm mostly an educator, but and I'm teaching theater. Yeah, you know, and I love it. I love directing the kids and putting the shows together and, you know, all the things. And like you were saying, that on sense of ensemble, you know, all the people there, you know, and for me, it's like, it's something that it never leaves. Like you guys, you know, we've been together how long? That's something that you can't buy that, you know. These are Shantell, you were in college when I met you, you know, and I wasn't with Ernie then, and you too, Toney, you know, and so you make these bonds that last a lifetime, you know what I mean? And I think that grows your community, your sentiment for what you do, how you do it, you know. You might leave it for a while, you know, but you know, it comes back, you know. So yeah.
Yeah, theater's a fickle lover.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Yeah,
you gotta give her a break sometime.
Right, yeah.
Like these experiences that we have, like they're for life.
Yeah.
Not only have they taught me about my potential and the potential of like groups of people, but I know that it was theater that showed me that even things that I don't want to do and I don't believe can happen can actually happen.
Yeah.
I just shut up and do it. And I've done some things through theater that I had no idea I could do.
Good point.
Yeah.
Because you have to, you know, there's things that you learn, right? You learn, like I know for me, I've learned fencing and you know, how to dance, you know. I know all have done that. Toney, tap dancing. Exactly right. Yeah. You know, so everybody has learned something, as a result of being in this life, this thing of ours.
It's crazy club.
Right.
Like I go back to like when we were with Ernie. We'd have, we'd have a meeting or something. I don't know about you guys, but
go back.
Even if we were doing a show, I would walk up those stairs to the theater or whatever space we were rehearsing in, having no idea what we were going to do.
Exactly.
I was prepared for whatever was going to happen, but I knew with Ernie and the theater, I mean, there have been times that we were, I show up and we're dancing today. The whole rehearsal, we're dancing. We're going to learn about ballet. And then today we're going to learn the difference between a Fresnel lighting system and a Lico, and why this splash is better than that, and how to hit your light. You're going to learn how to hit your light by actually lighting it yourself. And that was like, I never thought I'd need it, but had I not done all that wide array of stuff, it taught me to be prepared for anything at any time. Right. Don't be fixated on, well, it must be this way, because it doesn't. And I would have never directed or done any of that stuff.
Good point.
You just have to do it yourself. You had to do it.
Yeah.
The lights aren't going to get hung by themselves.
Right.
And we're going to build flats. What corporation coming to donate flats to us?
Nobody. Yeah.
You better get that saw.
Right.
Woo!
Yeah, you learn how to make platforms. Good platforms from bad platforms.
Yeah, right.
All that.
I think I addressed what has kept me in it already in terms of, for me, theater, acting, performance, the arts is breath. It's life. Mm-hmm. Once you've been to the mountaintop and you've seen the promised land, you can't really go back. I mean, what is there to go back to? In terms of what initially drew me to it is really, I would say that and I think all people deal with it to some degree, but I grew up just without a lot of confidence in myself. I could have never envisioned myself, even up through college, of ever getting on a stage. I can remember walking by the School of the Arts, and there were a number of people that were at Howard while I was there that went on to have a career in the arts. And I remember I used to look over at them, and I used to think, man, these crazy people. But I can remember in the back of my mind, it was just a little corner. I was thinking, damn, I always looked over there. But my brother, who is 10 years younger than me, ran for the male equivalent to homecoming queen at Virginia State, Mr. Trojan. I prefaced it by saying what it is because people used to always crack up when I said Mr. Trojan. I never, it wouldn't resonate initially why it was so funny. But as his talent, he performed a skit that he made up for himself. And if we were to go down to Virginia State right now, we walk into that theater, I could tell you the general area I was sitting, because after the show was over, I was stunned. Because here was my brother, 10 years almost, 9.5, my junior. And I mean, I just couldn't stop. It lit that pilot light in me, and I couldn't turn it off. And my sister, I'm the oldest of 5, my sister that's closest to me, she's been involved in art since high school. As a matter of fact, she lived in Atlanta at the time. She used to do production work in film and television. And when I talked to her on the phone, I guess I must have been like, just chattering away. And she said, well, why don't you take a class or something? Because she could tell that it really sparked something in me. She gave me 3 names: Ed Broadus, Ernie McClintock, who had lived in Atlanta and had just come to Richmond not long after that. And the third name, to this day, I've always tried to recall or get her to remember who the third name was, but she can't remember. And so I contacted Ernie. I can remember it like yesterday, and he said, well, I will be starting something soon. I will contact you very soon. And
Ernie, you gotta be on stage in 15 minutes.
Ron, I'm on the phone. Young man, I apologize. I will be starting something soon.
Get off the phone.
Ron! I'm very sorry. And so I remember also the day he came by my job, and he walked up to the concierge desk, and Ron was hovering around behind him. And he said, excuse me, I'd like to talk to the young man who sits here. And he was pointing at the concierge desk. And I said, oh, well, he's not here right now. You must be talking about Rudy. And he went on to discuss why he was looking for him. And I said, oh, you're not looking for him, you're looking for me. And once he reached out and contacted me, as DL said, every day going to rehearsal, there was just a certain excitement. Because for me now, more so than anybody, because I think everybody in the company had acted prior to the Jazz Actors experience. But for me, everything was new. And so even though I thought about quitting several times because of Ernie's incredible abrasiveness, I was fortunate to have the frame of mind to realize that it was a lot. But I needed that. I didn't know I needed that. But in retrospect, see, I had to have my feet held to the fire. Otherwise, I would have been of no value. I realized it took me about 7 years to even say that I was an actor. So every day that we went there, I was just learning so much. I was engaged in so much, and the depth, I say again, of who I was as a Black man became clearer to me.
MD. All right.
Well, so much of what everyone has said is so applicable to me. I don't want to do any repeating, but just on a personal note, what keeps me in this is that acting, and theater specifically, has provided an emotional outlet for me.
There you go.
I have gone into production. It's not TMI. We're talking amongst friends. I have gone into productions in a very depressed state, person, in my life. But going into a production buoys me or lifts me a little bit and just gets my mind off it, kind of typical thing. Yeah. So what has kept me in it, it has served as an emotional outlet, for sure, for me. And, it's, and I learned so much. I mean, here I am, 62 years old. I went to see Fences, and J. Ron gonna hate me for this, because every episode I gotta reference this. I go to see Fences. a show I've already done under DL's tutelage. And I'm watching this thing like, I'm just learning stuff. I'm just watching. I'm like, okay. I'm constantly learning. Oedipus, which the four of us have the luxury to be in. Oedipus, the gospel myth. I mean, I'm keeping it real. I didn't really learn a heck of a whole lot from Denny or anybody in particular. But I learned from you guys. My cast, my peeps. I'm learning, and the tennis analogy is so great because I'm like, Miles and I coming down those stairs, DL. I'm telling Miles, like, dude, I would go into character early, so I wouldn't tell him, but I'm thinking to myself, ooh, I got something for DL. And I'm like, and I'm squeezing Miles' hand, like, you know, and my whole message was, ooh, I'm gonna bust your daddy up. I'm gonna bust him.
And I loved it. I gotta say that and I'm gonna make it brief because I can talk. I don't know. What? But as a father, it's really, really, really hard not to see like your baby coming down the steps, you know, doing his little job and all that stuff. So, but I got to maintain this character. But I was sitting there, I was like, look at my boy.
Yeah.
That's my boy. That's my boy right there. And then I got to do a monologue. This is ridiculous.
Oh, man.
A monologue is a small, that's saying it like
I had some of those thoughts on those nights, and he ain't my son, but he is my brother in the arts, son. And I felt like, I felt really heartwarmed. I just felt so pleased that he was a part of that production, and he comported himself as such a professional man. You know, this is something he really can do if he chooses to.
Yeah.
But pretty much that's it for me. It has served. One of the things that's kept me in it, it has served as like an emotional outlet, as I have stated before. And I just enjoy it. I mean, it's simple as that. I just enjoy it. I get as much or maybe even a little more pleasure these days going to see one of you guys in something. Or, you know, other shows I saw last year, like Passing Strange, for example, at Firehouse was like incredible. And I would just sit there in tears. I saw it 3 times. Because Jamar, Katrina, all these people I love and know, Jeremy, and Dr. T puts her foot and a half in it. And but I was so euphoric when I left Fences. I was so euphoric when I left Passing Strange and didn't contribute a thing to it other than bought a ticket.
Well, awesome. What a great way to end this segment. That was awesome. That was awesome, guys. Beautiful. Woo.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Theater Talk. If you have an idea for a topic that you would like for us to discuss on our show, please send it to theatertalkrva@gmail.com. Also, we would love to hear from you. Tell us what you think about the show. You can either send us an email at theatertalkrva@gmail.com or send us a comment during an episode on YouTube.
I just got a residual check for a single cent. The stamp and the postage cost more than the check.
Oh my gosh.
But you know what?
You must work in the U.S. government. That's how they do things.
I'm thankful for it. I ain't mad about it. I'm glad they remember it, brother. I'll take that pen. Damn sure don't cash it.